Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek, and today I want to show to you a bunch of VAMs. So these are raw coins that are varieties that Morgan collectors collect, and I want to show you the little VAM book. Now this book was actually intentionally made to be pocket sized. This old one from, I think this is from '97, so you could just carry it with you when you went. VAM is the reference VAM comes from the fact that the original authors were Van Allen and Malice, VAM, VAM. Of course, this book is actually put together by two other authors, but this one is real popular. If you want, you can find books like it. You can find updated books on eBay or probably wherever you shop for books for anywhere from like $20 to $50, depending on what they are. So let's take a look at some of these really cool VAMs. What's fun about these, it's a neat area to collect because a lot of these you can cherry pick. That's to say, if you look at someone's raw inventory, you can find these coins. So this is an 1891 from the New Orleans Mint, and this is the E on the reverse. Now, there's lots of E's on the reverse. Let's see which E we're talking about. We're actually talking about a spot right below the tail feathers, above the wreath. There's an E, smack dab. I got it right in the center of the screen right there. It's actually a clash die, and so sometimes you can actually see a part of the other letters. If you look to the right of the E, you can catch a little bit of the R, and then on the other side of the E, a little bit of, let's see here, you're going to have a little bit of the R and a little bit of the B showing because it's incuse here, and so on the clash die it becomes raised on the other side. It's really a cool variety. So 1891, so this book is of course set up chronologically. So 1891, an updated version of the book will probably tell you a little bit more accurately on the prices, but you can see that big E on the reverse and then a part of the next letter over there. This guy in extra fine is probably about a $50 coin, somewhere in there, instead of, you know, whatever would be in the current market, a $30 coin. So it tells you it's not a super rare variety, but it's really easy to miss, and a lot of dealers probably don't look for it, but it's a fun one to cherry pick because it's, you know, some of the varieties are more interesting than others. I find this to be one of the more interesting varieties. Now, among many of the varieties that you run into, you'll run into doubling. Doubling is always popular with collectors. You know, some of the most popular coins out there are double dies. And you'll see here the 78 Philly from the 8-tail feather doubled RIB. And you can see that where the doubling is that you're going to be looking for on this book, in the book. It's actually, there's doubling on several different issues here, but some of them, I think there's a double RIB in the 7-tail feather. Yeah, so there's actually a 7-tail feather version that also has the doubling, which is kind of interesting that you actually have that same error on both the 7-tail feather and the 8-tail feather. Now it's going to be a little bit hard to tell with my 10 power loop. I'm going to pull out my 20, but if you look especially at those bottom serifs on the R, the I, and the B, that's where you're going to see it the strongest. We're going to pull out the 20 power loop and take a closer look. Also the type of coin that you can cherry pick pretty easy. Okay, now if you look at the base of the I, the base of the R, you start to see that doubling come through. The base of the B, there you can see clear separation there on that coin. So this coin, I think in this condition is probably about 75 bucks. It would be probably a little bit more, but it's got a few scratches like carved in right here on the face. I mean, you might call it damaged, you might call it graffiti. It looks, I don't know if it looks intentional or if it just got hit with something that had, you know, I don't know, claws, werewolf maybe. So when I talk about the 8 tail feathers and 7 tail feathers, we're talking about these on the bird. You have to count them. They actually have different look to them, but counting them is one way to learn. And so once you count the tail feathers, you can see how many tail feathers there are. That was brilliant. All right, next up, I've got this 80O hangnail. Now this is a die gouge that makes it look like the nail goes all the way down through the tail feather. It's got like a larger nail, that center nail on the talon on the left side, and then it goes all the way down into the tail feather. So let me show you what we're looking at on that 80O with the hangnail. What you're actually looking at is this portion, because the nail's right here, and it's interesting they call it the hangnail. They don't even show you the nail. But then this is die gouge where there's a raised piece there and a raised piece there. So the die gouge, let me use the 20 power again on this guy. You know, it sticks out on that leftmost tail feather, so you can see it pretty well in that image right there, where it's popping up not only at the base of the feather, but then in the middle of the feather it sticks up as well. And this guy, probably about $100 coin in AU, whereas the normal coin is probably 40 bucks. So that's actually one that if you pick up, you can do pretty good on. The next thing I want to show you is actually a real common variety, which is really fun to find, and that is the 82O over S. And there's a couple different types on these, and let me show you. When you're looking at the O, you'll see a part of an S going right through the middle of it. And the two main varieties are the broken and the flush. So in this one, the S kind of stops halfway through, and that's considered the broken. And then the flush, sometimes called the strong, but the flush, really cool because it goes all the way across, just like you're putting a line straight through the center of that O. You can even see a little curvature like the S is in there. So these are fun, and these guys will vary quite a bit. You know, it's something that's, I think, somewhat easy to cherry pick, especially in circulated grades. I've actually seen guys pick coins up from dealers in slabs that weren't labeled. So the coin was just labeled in 82O and it didn't have the S on it. The book lists them at a real high premium in higher grade. You'll see in higher grade, you know, they jump up to huge numbers. They're also in the gray sheet. Very few VAMs are in the gray sheet, but the over S, the weak one is the broken one, and you can see that uncirculated condition, an 82O in common grade is 60 bucks, but these varieties are 300, 200. That's in 63. You jump to 64, and all of a sudden you're like, look at those numbers. The strong in gem is ridiculous, you know, $40,000. So most VAMs are not listed in the gray sheet, but the 82O over S is. Finally, I have a couple oddities to show you which are not listed in the VAM book. This one someone called the broken D. If you look at the D in dollar here at the bottom, it is just flat out missing. It's just gone. Nothing left on that. So we'll have fun with that guy. We'll probably just throw it on eBay. I don't know what it's worth. But it's a cool looking variety. And so finally, this is something that I find really neat. This is a broken planchet. You see that crack going all the way through the planchet down to the edge of the coin, into the edge, and then turning back around. Now what's cool is you can see it goes in probably, what would you say that is? A quarter of a way through the coin. There are coins that exist that are broken all the way across in half. A broken planchet, split planchet error. There's a couple famous Carson City ones. My buddy Alan at Northern Nevada Coin owns those, I think. Has the website brokencc.com. But you can see on the edge of the coin that entry. So of course the planchet was broken before the coin was struck. It was not made properly. And that's a neat piece. So I don't know exactly what that's worth, but those sell at pretty good premiums. I think we may get a couple $100 on that on eBay. For the error collector specialists, they're hard to come by. And it's a nice looking break. It's clean. Like I said, it's about a quarter way through the planchet, so it's pretty neat. So thanks guys so much for watching. I'm Ben the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.